All right, welcome to the
Black
Black Women
Women
Burrito.
Burrito.
I think we froze. It's all good though.
Yes.
So,
Well, today we're super excited to have Juanita Charles with us.
Hi.
Yes. She is from the Clarksville area, and she is a realtor. She's a political representative. And so we'd like to hear a little bit about her journey today.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. But thank you again so much for having me. My name is Juanita Charles, as you have stated. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia, and I came to Clarksville by way of the military. So I was in the Army as a missile system repair. My husband was in the Army. We met actually in Korea. We got married there. We got stationed at Fort Campbell, and we've been here ever since. When we left the military, we were kind of looking to see where we would go. I know I didn't want to move back to Savannah. He didn't want to move back to Brooklyn. So we kept trying to find these different places. And so we visited all these cities, mostly on the East Coast. And then we decided that Clarksville can be what we want it to be if we put in the work, along with the rest of the community. So that's what we've done. So we stayed here and tried to make Clarksville exactly what we want to be. So we love Clarksville as it was, but as I think any responsible member of a community, if you see positive change that could happen, then you want to be a part of that. So that's what that is what we've dedicated our lives to. So, but as you said, I am in real estate. So I've been a realtor for 11 years now, and I'm also a real estate investor. And we have a housing nonprofit called Hello Home, and what we do is we try to bridge the gap for people who make too much money to get assistance, but they don't make enough money to have, I'll say suitable housing, right? So because I feel like decent housing is a human necessity and a human right. And so until everybody else feels that way, we're going to do what we can to make sure we bridge the gap for those who do not have access to that. Activist, as I said before, I had never really considered myself to be that until people just kind of kept saying that to me, and I was like, well, maybe I do fit the mold, but imposter syndrome kicks in real heavy when you don't. I'm confident in my abilities, and I can see what I've done, but when I think of a civil rights activist, I just never thought of that as me. Even though it's what I do on a regular basis, even when you look at what I do for the city of Clarksville. So I chair the Human Relations Commission for the city of Clarksville, and we are charged with promoting diversity, equity, inclusion when it comes to studying hiring practices of the city, the police department, like all of those are things that fall in my purview. So this is what I do all the time. It's not a paid position. It is a volunteer position. However, whatever I do, I want to perform at a high level and do it well. And so I do that. Just recently, we had a really big victory with the city because we had been budgeted $2,500 for a city of almost 250,000 people to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, fair housing, all of those things, which was, in my opinion, borderline impossible. So, but we did what we had to do, and we were able to get a budget amendment, and now we have $89,000 to work with. So, so we are really, really, really proud of that, and a lot, very large part to Clarksville Summit. So, Clarksville Summit is a social justice organization that I created last year or so, and we have about 800 plus people these are people that are dedicated to working in the community. And we work together with city council, with the mayor, with boots on the ground activists, with people who protest, demonstrations, whatever it takes. And we examine at Clarksville Summit, we examine our local issues as a community, and we figure out the best way to approach those. So we get the leadership together, we get the community leaders, organizers. Everybody has a seat at the table to come up with a solution that is community focused, and we make sure that nobody, we try to make sure that nobody's left out. Tennessee Minority Business Alliance. So what that does, our tagline is kind of like we turn roadblocks into stepping stones for minority business owners. So we know that even among just Black women, we are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the country. However, we are not seeing the resources that usually go along with that, and that is because there are systemic barriers that are put in place to keep us from being able to thrive. So we can get a business and we can run it, but you end up not really running it like a business because you don't know what you don't know and the resources are not readily available. So through education, through advocacy, through community, and through workshops and access, which is the number one barrier that we have, we at Tennessee Minority Business Alliance make sure that our minority business owners know what they need and have access to what they need so that they can thrive and compete on the same level. Manifest Magic Black Girl Cooperative, which is an official 501c3 organization, and we are created by Black women. It's run all by Black women, and it's especially for Black women. This is a safe space for Black women to come and be and live and thrive without barriers. So we get to show up as our authentic selves and just be loved on just because of that, right? We don't fit into a box. We don't have to. And we are all about diversity on all levels. We know that just because we're Black women, it doesn't make us all the same. We're not a monolith. So we want everybody. So I don't care if you got somebody that you call a ratchet to a sophisticate to an in-between, everybody is welcome because we're all about sisterhood. We all have to have a place to belong. So this organization, we have everything from education, right? So we have personal and professional development committees. We have everything from parenting classes to teaching people how to do real estate, to teach people how to invest. We have an investment group, and so we are starting our first investment venture now, and we have over, I want to say, 40 people that are going to be investing, and by this time next year, we'll have about $250,000 cash to invest into our local businesses, into our already established Black-owned businesses, into our community as a whole. And then we have basically everything that you can think, really. So I say it's everything to all Black girls. I don't care. I think our youngest member might be like 13, right? Which is my daughter. Well, actually 11, my 11-year-old. And then our oldest member is 73. So it's for everybody. We want to bridge the generational gap, the education gap, at whatever gap there may exist. This is for all of us. The main reason it was founded is because we realized that actually right now, Black women are the most educated demographic, right? We have the most degrees in the country, but we are also still the poorest demographic. So there's a disconnect there, right? So how do we bridge that? So we understand that it's not just education and it's not just this and it's not just that. We have to take a holistic approach to the Black woman. And so this is what we've done with Manifest Magic. So like I said, for us, we're everything to all Black women. If you come into the group and you don't find something that's for you, tell me what you need and we'll fill that gap. We have, mental health services. We have everybody in the group. And when I say everybody, I mean, we have doctors, we have politicians, we have anybody that you can think of. And we are there to help us offer a helping hand to each other. So I feel
I love your passion for community, for family, for all cultures really, but especially for minorities. Obviously that didn't come from nowhere. So can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? Do you mind talking about that? Like just kind of get that foundation, like where do you come from? Like how did you get to here from like childhood, high school? Did you go straight to college? Did you go a less traditional route? Let's hear about that.
Okay, so I just turned 36. Yes, I just turned 36 on the 26th of June, and so I'm loving life and enjoying this next chapter in my life. I'm married. I've been married it'll be 15 years in July, and we have 3 daughters. So we have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 1-year-old. This 1-year-old I was not prepared for. I am exhausted all the time because she has so much energy, but it rounds out my life, while I have a lot of energy and love and passion to put into the community that I serve. I have to match that obviously at home because that's my first ministry. So it is, so my background is not atypical, right? So I am the oldest of a single mother. So my mom was 17 when she had me. My father was 16. They were, in high school, all of that good stuff. I'm the oldest. So I have, I have 6 brothers and I have 4 sisters, and I'm the oldest of all of them. And when I say like they're all blood related, it's not like this doesn't include all the play sisters and people that I've collected over the years. So my mom's got 5 kids and my daddy's got 7. Because I just met one of my baby sisters last year. So, we grew up very poor. As I tell people, like I came from the dirt, right? So we just didn't have a lot. I came from like my mom was in the middle of 6 children, and her mom was a single mom, and so and they were mostly raised by their grandparents, and so my mom grew up in the 70s in Savannah, and even though it wasn't supposed to be segregated, it was still kind of segregated. And as we got older, we were kind of raised with almost they tried to, I guess, and not on purpose, raise us with a little bit of an inferiority complex because of how my grandma came up. So she was always taught that white people are better. And you just kind of do what they say. You just go along to get along. You roll with the punches. And so that was a little bit instilled in my mom, except she took it a step further. She said, you know what? I am not going to raise you to feel that somebody is better than you. She couldn't necessarily shake it in her own life, but she definitely wanted to make sure that we didn't grow up with that. And then she would say things like, you know what? I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to be a homeowner because I'm not going to do this, forever, that type of thing. So we were kind of raised in the hood. Then we moved to the projects, and I'll tell people all day, when we moved to the projects, Hicks Village projects in Savannah, Georgia, it was an upgrade on the houses that we had lived in before. Like it was, like I said, we came from the dirt. So, but my mom always worked. We definitely got food stamps. She never got welfare because she always worked. But her work ethic and her determination to just at least be one step ahead of where she came from was always something that she instilled in me. And I mean, we would have like these late night conversations from when I was like young, and she would say, she said, where we live is okay, but I want better for you. Like, I want you to do better. I want you to do. And my mom is very quiet and like meek, and people would always run over her. So that's why I've never been the one, because that I just could not. And so I was pretty quiet in school. I read a lot. I just always used to read, but I also used to fight a lot, right? Because it's just kind of where we live. Like you didn't get away with not fighting. Like you very rarely. But I didn't want that for my sisters and brothers, so most of them didn't. But that was just me. I was something of a tomboy in high school. From here to there, I played sports. A lot of sports. I was on the swim team. I played football. I was on the soccer team for like a day. That was just, I ran cross country. I did sports. I was more athletic in my younger days. And then I was very interested in fashion and design and stuff like that. So I wanted to go to an art school. I wanted to go to Savannah College of Art and Design. So my mom had gone to college, but she had went to like a junior college. Nobody explained to me how much college costs. And actually the college that I wanted to go to is like one of the most expensive in the country. It's just in our city. So I just figured, oh yeah, I'll just go there. I had a couple of scholarships because I had always been a good student. So, having the high honor roll and all of that stuff throughout school, I didn't apply for the scholarships that I needed. So I didn't have the money to go to where I wanted. Didn't understand the way student loans work, which is probably a good thing for what it was, because after I just went to the Army. Went to the Army at 18, missile system repair. So I was always the only female because it's a very male-dominated area. And so because I was usually always the only female, or maybe one or two, 2 or 3, then I always had to excel. I had to. You really don't have a choice, right? So I went to the board. I made sergeant in 2 years because I didn't even really Korea was my first duty station. I went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood. I went to AIT at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville. to Korea as my first duty station. And so I don't know, during that time you don't really get to slack or let up, right? Because at this point you're almost representing for your entire race and your whole sex. Like that's just, you are the representative. And that's a lot to carry. And at the time I was not cognizant of what I was doing, but that's what I was doing, right? So I always have to do the best on my PT test, and I always have to look the best and know the most and do well, and that's just what it was. But it paid out off. But I was gonna go officer, either go to drill sergeant school. Then I met my husband, and all that went out. The way that I am came from always having to care for other people. So like I said, I'm the oldest of 6 brothers and 4 sisters, but then I had a lot of cousins, and all of us, for the most part, kind of all lived together for the most part, like, off and on throughout the years. And I was always the only girl, the oldest girl. So it falls on you to cook, to clean, to do this, to do that. But then also it makes you aware of everybody else's problems, like you carry it, right? So I always carried everybody else's issues. And as I got older and got exposed to other people and got exposed to things that are outside of myself, or things that do affect me that maybe I never had time to look up from, because, for me anyway, my experience as a Black woman and a Black person in America is you just kind of roll with the punches, right? You get what you get. You don't complain. This is just what you do. And after I decided that I'm no longer just rolling with the punches because we're going to change this, because I'm not doing this, that's when I started like, oh, shoot, it's not just this, because once you peel back, it's like an onion. Like once you see that this is the issue, then you see, well, this is the cause of this issue, and this is the cause of that issue. So now you have to go to the root, and it's become just a lifelong journey of figuring out how do we get to the root to dismantle all of the things that keep everybody from being able to be on the even playing field. And so of course I have a special passion for Black women because I am a Black woman and I'm raising Black women. But really it's for everybody. If there, even when there was when it first started and they were, calling it what it is, caging kids at the border, like I was at a protest for that. Like it's for everybody, right? Because I think it's important that I don't only care about things that directly affect me, because at some point there's going to be something that directly affects me that I can't actually do something about. And so the other people who, maybe I've never paid them any attention or cared about their plight, what is to encourage them to come and care about mine? Kind of how I guess that's how I arrived at where I am now and why I do what I do. And again, most of the times I don't even think about it. I just do it because it just makes sense to me, right? I'm in the moment. I can do it, so I should do it. And because if not me, then who? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not?
Yes, it sounds like that you have a lot going on and you do a lot for the community, and it just sounds amazing. So my question for you is, how do you balance, especially with a new 1-year-old at home, how do you balance real estate? How do you balance the political things? And how do you balance your nonprofit organizations and do it all?
That is an awesome question, and I have not quite figured that out yet. So, what I can, so my husband is amazing. My children are amazing, and they're very, very mature and aware of what I do and why I do it. And so I have a small team around me, but first and foremost, my husband and my kids, like they are my support. If they dropped off today, I would not be able to function. I just wouldn't. So as far as real estate, whenever I am away, because my husband is also a realtor, we have a small team, Charles Realty. Woo-woo. All right. So he handles that. He, like anything that I may need help with, or if I just say, hey, this is what we have, boom, he'll knock it out. So that's that. With the other organizations and groups, they all work together pretty much in the same vein, so it doesn't feel like work to me. Like it's a passion, it's a mission, it's just something that I do. And so because they all work together, I may have, let's say a campaign right now. So right now, my focus is racism and anti-Blackness, and how do we dismantle that, at least in the local area, create the blueprint that can be replicated in other cities. So that's what I'm working on now. Every organization that I work with or work on, including Habitat for Humanity, because I sit on the board for Habitat for Humanity, every single one of those organizations, they have a piece in that. So I figure out what part of those organizations can work towards this, and I bring them together. So that's how I balance it, because I don't see them as all individual entities. I think if you want to, going back to the African proverb, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So I bring all of these together to make them make sense and to make it sustainable, because you can do one hit of quitters all day, right? So I can say, oh, we're going to have the summit, we're going to talk about this, and boom, and that's that. Okay, but where's your follow-up, right? And what are you going to do? And who and what is going to hold these entities and people accountable for what they've said and what they've done and what they said they're going to do? And so that's where these organizations come into play. And the awesome thing is even though I found and direct them, they have so many great people that work on them. Even if I got sick or, Lord forbid, died today or tomorrow, the mission carries on. And so, and that's, I think, and I take a lot of comfort in that, because I know that even if I'm not here, it'll continue, but they'll work together the way that they do. Because I think that's what makes the most sense to me, is to take people and things and entities that work in the same vein and figure out what part you can dedicate to this mission. And as the mission shifts and changes and moves, and we bring more things and people on, all we do is expand our network and make it that much greater. So the only thing I have not found balance with is and I'm doing better with it, is self-care, right? So I can do family and everything else all the time, but my quiet space is what suffers. And I'm getting better with that. So time management. I have a couple friends of mine who are coaches and everything else. I had one friend who took me on as a coach, and she fired me because she said, you are uncoachable. So, and not in a bad sense, the reason she said that is because I take so much time for everything else that I do put myself on the back burner. But one thing that we discovered together is that a part of my self-care is doing this stuff. It makes me feel good. It makes me happy. And if you take me away from it, if you say, well, you're going to go on a vacation for a week and you can't touch or do anything, the vacation part is going to be, it'll be awesome. But after a couple hours, I'm like, oh, I need to check and see what's going on here, because that's just a part of my makeup. So I guess in synopsis, doing the work is a part of my balance.
So we're going to have like a fun question for you. Okay. I guess it's a fun question, but it's outside of the box. So what TV show, past or present, do you wish your life was like, and why?
So when you say that, I automatically go to TV shows that I watch, right? So I binge watch The Office. The Office is like, that's my show, right? But I don't really see myself in there. So I would just be like an extra person in the office that observed everything else. And then I'll probably be best friends with Michael Scott, because he is the worst and the best at the same time, right? And Dwight too. Like, I think we would be friends, even though not right away. But like, so I would be there, and I think I could fit in there because I like everybody there. I really like, and I binge watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have y'all watched that?
I've only seen like one episode. I think I saw the pilot, and I just never went back to it.
Because it's so raunchy and ridiculous. So it's I feel like that may be too telling about me. But anyway, that's I don't know. I like that. Although I don't see where I would fit in there. I would kind of be like, I would not fit into there. But I would observe, right? I wouldn't be friends with any of them probably. But because I have kids, we watch cartoons, Gumball. I don't know. The Amazing World of Gumball. But I also watch Rick and Morty, right? So I know this may sound a little whatever, but maybe Rick and Morty, right? Because I would like to be Rick. I just want to make my inventions, fix the world, and not be selfish about it. And then I would just go from timeline to timeline and just fix everything.
Fun question. If you had to create a definition for a rainbow, how would you define it, and what would you say the meaning and the purpose is?
And I immediately go away from colors because I don't know. I immediately go to everything and nothing, right? So that's one of my favorite phrases. Like, people say, what you got going on? Everything and nothing, all at the same time. And I think that's what a rainbow is. Have you heard this saying, like, if everybody's special, nobody is? So it's kind of like that. It's everybody, right? Everything. is a rainbow, and whatever you don't see, you can create from what is there. And the purpose of it is to be a building, is a place to come together and build.
What advice would you give to a little girl, a teenage girl that's watching this right now, that's thinking, I could never, I could never go out. I saw your, I think not in front of Burns Started, and you were in front of Burt Elementary. You're like, I could never go out and speak like that. I couldn't be in real estate. I can't do these things. I'm just from this. I only have this, or I don't even know where to begin. What would your words to that girl be today?
And not even just teenage girls, also young women. Some people started in their 20s and 30s, they're just now getting started. So,
you're right. I think my advice to young Black women, girls, teenagers, heck, honestly, even people my age, I would say no matter where you come from, what you do, what you're surrounded with, you have a greatness inside of you that makes you unstoppable and unlimited. When you decide to pursue something, I know a lot of people, their thought is, well, who's going to let me do this? That is not your question. My question to myself, and the question to yourself that you should be asking yourself, is not who's going to let you, but who's going to stop you. Nobody can stop you if that is what you have decided that you are going to do, whatever it is, right? Use your voice, be involved, because everybody has a place. Everybody has value. Everybody has a purpose. There are things in my life that have led me to be able to use my voice that are unfortunate, but they have helped me to be who I am. I'll share this. So a part of the reason I think I was able to find my voice in the way that I have is because, like, when I was in the military, I was sexually assaulted, and I told some people, but I didn't take it as far as it could have gone, because I was afraid of repercussions, of what people would think, of what people, and then who these people were and how it happened. And it was just a whole different thing. And so after I had my second daughter, I had a break that I almost didn't come back from, because for whatever reason, I think it all kind of came crashing forward, and it was a fear that was so traumatizing and detrimental that I could not, like, what if my daughter experiences, what if my daughters, because I had two at the time, and it was so much that I kind of started therapy. I've been in therapy and for over 12 years now, I think. Because that's not something that you just get over. But what happened is, as I progressed and I started talking to more people about it, I started finding other women who had dealt with that and other things, and things that have silenced them over the years. And I was like, you know what? If she can't talk, I'm going to speak for her. And that's kind of how it really, that's why I really, really started talking. And this part of me is not something that I talk about a lot, but it's growth just to be able to say, because a couple of years ago, I wouldn't even be able to mention it without breaking down. You know what I'm saying? So I once I found the strength in the voice, I decided to really, really, really lend it to other people who didn't have it. Because I think you have to. I think even if you're not religious, I think most people believe that you are blessed to be a blessing, right? And so I was blessed with that. When I feel like a second chance to use my voice after I felt like somebody tried to put out my light. And so since I have that, for people who don't feel like they have that, I think it's my duty. It's not just something that I've opted to do. I think I have to. Well, you are great, and I have to remind myself of that. Like, you are great. Like, you do awesome work. You do things. You step outside of yourself. And for anybody else who even almost wants to, and maybe you don't even know where to get started, I will give you my cell phone number. You can call me, and we can talk about it, and we can figure out how you can put your voice, how you want to share your voice, because everybody does not do it the same.
And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us, because a lot of Black women or women or people in general have things that happen to us, but a lot of times we don't seek counseling and therapy. So can you tell, like, tell people how that may have helped you, or and does
Yes.
your nonprofit offer that type of service?
So organization, we don't have it in. We don't have therapy right now in our organization, but we have women that we have a Black female therapist that we have a referral program with. So we do refer to that. We do trauma circles, and those have been impactful, and we've had some breakthroughs and a lot of good stuff that has come out of that. So it manifests magic. We try to cover all our bases, and that's one thing that we promote: therapy and healing and all of that good stuff. My personal journey with therapy is that I did come from a very religious household, and that just was not something. Like if you're depressed or you deal with something, it's you just pray about it, right? And so it took me longer than it should have to go to therapy. And when I went, which was almost not really my choice, like I kind of had to go. I did like this off and on thing where I felt like, okay, I got a little better, I'm good now. Then I would back, and then I would break again. And when I say break, I really would get to a point where I wasn't functioning on the level that I should. And so for me, therapy, when done correctly, has been a lifesaver. Honestly, it truly saved my life. Like, this is not metaphorical. Like, it 100% saved my life. I've been suicidal. I've attempted suicide. I mean, and it saved my life. One thing that I found is in some people that go to therapy, they don't, they say, well, I don't want to tell them my business, or I don't want to, you know what? They can't help you if they don't know what's wrong with you. So you need to tell them. Like, you need to, every dark thought you've had, every thing that you think is a secret, you have to, like, this is how they help you. And so for me, I have changed therapists a couple of times because I did not feel comfortable, or I felt like I was being judged, or I felt like, and so we need to know that when you go to therapy, that is your option. It is your prerogative to be treated by somebody that you feel like has your best interest at heart, who's not judging you and that you feel comfortable with. For me, it has been a lifesaver, and I'm an advocate for therapy or counseling or trauma circles or whatever it is that you need. If you feel like you need that support or that help, don't hesitate and go do it, because as I tell people, I go to therapy not because I'm crazy. It's to keep me from going crazy or to keep me from breaking.
We're going to play a game called Categories. The rules are, we'll spin the wheel, and then whatever letters pops up on the wheel, you'll have to think of a word from that category to name on the wheel. Each player will have 10 seconds to think of a word that represents each category. And you cannot use a name that is on the screens, because some of the screens have pictures on them. So if it's already on the screen, you can't use that word.
Okay.
Okay. The letter O. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Question number 1. Here to there. And this relates to transportation.
My first thought was an octopus. That was definitely not.
Ride an octopus? I mean,
yes, I was kind of thinking, like, I mean, we can ride octopus, right? No, not quite. Okay. It starts with a O.
I'm sitting here thinking, I got to go Google this. I can cheat myself and go Google.
Let me
like the Autobahn, does that begin? That probably begins with an A, and that's a road. That's not actually the vehicle.
But I mean, but it's still transportation related, so I could. But it is. But I do believe it starts with an A, though.
I don't have one. We're gonna skip
Is there
that.
a brand
We'll
of
come back
car
to
that
it.
begins with O? Like, is there a model or a
That's good. A model car. Let me see.
Oh, no.
Odyssey.
Odyssey?
Ooh, yes.
Honda Odyssey.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, question number 2. Top this. Name a topping for food.
Those
Oh
aren't
my
onions,
gosh, with an
right?
O?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got onions.
Onions,
Yeah.
good.
Look. Let's run with that, because I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what
Okay.
it
I
is.
want to know what's going on here, because I want to be wherever this picture is right now.
I know. I see some olives in the picture. Oh.
Oh.
Yes.
You know, and
Okay,
I love olives.
number 3, sugary foods or drink.
Oh, it's hard.
Ooh.
Oatmeal cookies.
Oatmeal cookies, like it.
Look, I'm digging it because my brain is not processing anything that starts with an O. I don't know why.
Orange soda.
Ooh, I like. And my
Okay,
favorite muffins are orange cranberry muffins. So
like
Oh,
it.
man. I always forget about those. Those are so underrated. They're so good.
Television. Anything on television that starts with the letter
Office.
O. The Office, yay!
Office. There we go, right off the bat.
The Odyssey. The Odyssey.
Okay.
Which I know you just said Odyssey, but when you said it, I automatically thought about the movie. So
Okay.
yeah.
The OC.
Orange
That
is the
feels
new
like
black.
forever old.
Books.
Yeah,
The Odyssey.
that is also.
Did
Well,
we
that's
just-
the first thing that came to my mind too.
So, oh my gosh, let me think.
I can think of characters.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking, I feel like there are books that I'm currently reading that start with an O, and I cannot. There's one called is of course. No, that is the tagline of it. So never mind.
Of Mice and Men.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah, I
that's one
love
of my favorite books.
Yes.
That is goodness.
Very few ones I actually enjoyed reading in high school, middle school, whenever I read that.
Yes,
Animals.
ocelot.
Octopus. What?
Yeah, ocelot. It's like a gazelle type of thing.
Okay.
Out the box for that. I like that.
So yes, let's go with the octopus. We can go
Ostrich.
ostrich. Yes,
Owl.
yes.
I like that.
Speaking of owls, I came across an owl like a couple weeks ago, just like in a neighborhood. I helped this lady rehome it, but it was interesting.
Okay, so we got our animals. Let's see what our next was. Sports and exercise.
So okay, don't laugh. My first thought was osteoporosis. I have no idea why. That's obviously not. So I was just like, what? Don't mind me. My brain is on something different right now.
Okay.
Let's see. Sports and
If you have it, you will struggle to exercise.
goodness. Let me see.
Offsides? Can we
Octagon
just give
fighting.
sports terms?
Octagon fighting. They fight in the octagon. Is that where they do the MMA?
Like
I
the
don't know
ring
if
matches.
that- I mean- Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. that was a ring.
We'll
That
take
was you
it.
see me reach it.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, name brands.
What is Omni? Because that's all that keeps running through my head.
A hotel. Yep.
The
Omni Hotel.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's good.
Omega has, I think it's Omega. They have those watches, or is it called Omega?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't buy like expensive jewelry or nothing like that, but I believe that was a thing.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, thank you so much for playing with all the winners today. That was good.
Oh, that
So,
was
in
fun. My brain wouldn't even register.
So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now. Let me see if I do that. Okay. So this was good. I really enjoyed talking to you today. Very, very inspiring and informative. But as we close, I want to give you the opportunity to, list any nonprofits or and the websites if anyone wanted to reach you, or any of your real estate agency and the website if they wanted to reach you there, or anything else that you may have going on that we didn't talk about.
Yeah. So you can reach me on my website is juanitacharles.com. You know, I'm a real estate agent, real estate investor. And I also teach other people how to get into investing because even if I'm your agent, you just want to buy a house, I feel like it is my duty to help you build wealth. And so I try to help people build wealth through real estate. And I also teach classes on it. I haven't taught a class in a little bit, but I'm going to get back to that pretty soon. So again, teaching people to build wealth through real estate. The organizations that I work very heavily with, again, is Manifest Magic Black Girl Cooperative. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We have a website, manifestmagicbgc.org. But that's a nonprofit. Tennessee Minority Business Alliance. Again, we're on Facebook. Everything that I mentioned is on Facebook, and is on Instagram, is on Twitter, and you'll be able to find a link on my website. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I had fun. And I shared some things that maybe I had not intended, but I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be for the betterment. So I'm just happy that I did, and I was given the platform and the opportunity to do so.
The Black Women Burrito would like to extend a very special thank you to all of our sponsors. And you can receive a coupon to any one of these locations online at theblackwomenburrito.net.